you're meeting minimum requirements in terms of contrast. So what is the color of the text and what's the color of the background? Is there enough contrast there for someone with a visual impairment?
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning into Nodes of Design. To help support our mission spread knowledge, we have a very special guest on today's episode. Let's welcome Sharif Matar, who is a producer and director turned into an UX designer and also a UX mentor at General Assembly. Sharif had worked with clients like Marriott, NBC Universal, Chase, Olay, Ford and Gartner. Sharing his wide array of industrial experience, on today's episode, Sharif and I had a great conversation on how to build accessible products, what exactly is accessibility standards that one must follow to build products that are universal for all. Also, we focused on the ethics side of design and how being a designer, it's your duty to design some ethical products while avoiding the dark UX pattern. So stay tuned and happy designing, everyone. Hi Sharif, welcome to Nodes of Design.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Sharif, how's your day going?
It's good. Timing wise, we're kind of in the United States, we're in the middle of starting to loosen up some of the shutdowns and lockdowns based on the pandemic. And so I think people are still very cautious and wondering what's going to happen with remote work and everything that's going on right now. I think, things are as good as they can be in these times. And I'm really hopeful and positive.
That's great, Sharif. And thank you so much for joining our Mission Spread Knowledge.
Absolutely. And I think this is an awesome podcast. And so I'm super excited to talk.
So Sharif, if you could give a brief about you to our audience.
Sure. I actually grew up in Hawaii, a small island. Was always sort of interested and obsessed with art and technology. And so went to university in Silicon Valley, started working in sort of marketing for some big tech companies in the security space and in other areas. And then I got into filmmaking and I started producing a lot of films and marketing materials. And more I started doing post-production and animation, and I started getting sort of UI, UX jobs. And so I started asking questions about what is this UI, UX? How do you actually make better products and services? And I sort of filled out a lot of my UX knowledge, worked at a bunch of different companies, large entertainment companies. I've worked in-house on product teams, a bunch of startups. Yeah, so it got to the point where I actually started teaching at GA and other courses and started doing workshops with a lot of Fortune 500 companies, basically implementing design thinking and different strategies for growing product teams.
Thank you so much, Sharif, for your brief intro. So what is your journey into design? How did you start into this career? And what are your tips that you want to give to the younger audience now?
Yeah, this is a really important one. I think people's story helps shape their sort of interest and passion, especially in something that requires both sort of soft skills and technical expertise. You need a story that really helps sort of drive you and motivate you to continue and work hard even when things are getting difficult. So from a young age, I actually, I struggled in school. I had dyslexia. And for the longest time, I was really struggling with reading and keeping up with materials. And it was only until I started getting into technology and computers, and there was like little games that I used that wasn't being taught in school, or I didn't have access to the type of education that I needed. And so through technology, I was able to learn and sort of end up loving reading. And I today, reading is a passion of mine. And so this passion for technology kind of came from that really young age and those experiences. Yeah, later, like I said, I got into filmmaking and I started getting jobs in terms of like UI and animation and being very sort of technical and doing a lot of visual design. But the more that I realized that the artistic or the visual side of it wasn't as important or powerful as sort of defining your problem and getting the research, I started becoming more and more passionate about the psychology of design, the science of design. How do you measure good design, and asking those types of questions, making products that actually solve problems instead of just look good or feel good. That's kind of my background. And that's how I got really passionate about design is how do you actually make things that solve problems and help people, as opposed to, vanity metrics or aesthetics purely on its own, which are obviously super important.
That's great, Sharif. So, but what are the tips that you want to suggest?
much.